Hey guys, welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, everybody.
And seeing as we're getting closer and closer to Halloween, I thought we might do a review of Trick or Treat.
Now, Trick or Treat.
Trick
I
or
think it's supposed to be
which
titled.
is was released in year 2007.
I'll tell you the spelling of it in case you want to find it later on. Trick, like in T-R-I-C-K, and then you got an apostrophe R, and then treat.
I think.
No, if you're looking for it online, so you want to look for a copy of it to buy or something or other. It's not Trick or Treat, it's Trick or Treat. Okay. Okay.
I think it's this Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. Now, do you say Trick or Treat or Trick without the O on it? For the O bit, that's all it is, yeah. Like a slang, like someone doesn't speak very well. Anyway, carry on. This is
just like Boys and Ghouls, where,
Boys and
where
Ghouls.
we use
Exactly.
the middle initial to and, like if it was, and for this one it would be like
Trick or Treat.
Trick
or Treat.
or Trick, and they would just Trick or Treat. They would just put in the O, but instead they took out the
They take it off. It looks really good. Anyway, this is an American anthology horror film.
True.
Written by Michael Dougherty, directed by Michael Dougherty, produced by Brian Singer. Now, I haven't got too much information on the budget and box office. I know the budget was about 12 million, but there's no box office because it went through film festivals mainly. So, and then went to home media releases and that sort of thing. So it's really hard to get an idea of how much it's actually made.
Yeah, originally this was an original idea made by Michael as a short animation, which was originally titled Season Greetings, that was made in 1996, which debuted the character, the Sam character. And another thing good about this movie is that they had a hard time titling it. The film had many titles changes before filming began. Originally, the title was going to be Season's Greetings. It was changed because it sounded too much like a Christmas movie, which sounds like it too. Then it was called Halloween Terrors, Jack-o'-lantern, October the 30th, and let's see, and then Trick or Treat. Then they
Trick or Treat.
No.
And then it's obviously progressed on Trick or Treat.
Then the final title was kept, but since there was already a movie of the same name out there, they changed it to spelled Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. Yeah.
So that makes a little big difference.
Now that explains the
Yes.
Now I normally mention the cast. However, being an anthology movie with 4 different stories for pretty much 4 different groups of people in it, and there's no major player through the whole story, I'm not going to mention any names. Sarah might mention 1 or 2 as she goes along. But all I can say is there was over 20 actors. A lot of them were young actors, and I think the casting was very, very good for this. The people suited the movie pretty good. What do you reckon?
Yeah, true. And I do think, in my mind, Mike, that these people do connect, if not really well known to each other, but they kind of meet them throughout this movie. They say a few people meet them on the same street. They just do their own thing.
There are some in the same neighbourhood. They were in there, but the stories weren't interacting together. That's what I just said. Okay, so they're all independent stories, but they had a common thread going through it. Albeit Sam, this little Halloween creature,
Sam is
and
the
one
only
or two other little storylines going through.
The interesting thing about the Sam character, he's done by a boy named Quinn Lord, and he also did another part in this movie I should mention, where he plays a kid with a lollipop in his mouth who is doing a peek in a bunch of girls in the changing rooms when they are trying on Halloween costumes. And then the boy, gets the bad gets his
Mummy pulled him away from the dressing room
Mum
while
pulled
it was
away.
where he had been perving on the girls.
Although
getting
she was
changed.
the one who gave the girls a bit of a saying, "How dare you say this stuff around the little kids?"
But how would you say no little boy was outside? He was looking through a peephole at the girls getting changed.
like Norman Bates.
The naughty little... A boy's best friend is his mother.
Yes. So anyway, who else stars in it? I know we can't mention everyone, but let's just mention the people who do.
Well, you
tap
mentioned a
on.
couple.
Okay.
I didn't listen because I wasn't going to mention anybody.
Okay. There is Anna. What's her name?
Parkwin, I think it is.
Parkwin, who was in I think in True Blood, I think.
Oh,
and
okay.
she plays Laurie, a girl who's about to supposedly lose her virginity, but we don't know that.
Oh, well, we thought it was.
But I won't get into it just yet.
We will tell the story presently.
And there's a guy named Dylan Baker as Steve, who. And let me see who else. Oh yeah, who was the sort of the principal who.
Oh yeah, he plays an interesting role, doesn't he? Yeah,
Yes,
and he
very.
gets his in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, kill the principal. Yeah, whatever.
And there's Brian Cox, who plays Mr.
Creed.
The let me see, he's
an old hermity
an old
sort of
hermit
guy
type guy who
who had
lives
a
in the
dark
neighborhood.
history. Yeah.
And there's Sam Todd as
Rhonda.
Rhonda, who plays a little shy girl who is taken to a quarry with a bunch of mates.
They're going to tease her and give her a hard time, but things did turn around. But this will all be revealed very shortly.
And finally, what's his name? I can't remember.
Like, crikey. Tamo Panic. Yeah, something Henry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what
he's the who lives across the street from the principal and the hermit, and he and his girlfriend are just well, they just open the scene where they
that guy.
where they just mock Halloween and his wife wants to take down the the decorations.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Halloween lore. American people would be more up to speed with this. Something in this movie is they said that if you light your jack-o'-lantern and put a candle inside and light it, you're supposed to leave the candle burning until it goes out naturally by itself, and when the candle burns out, you don't just blow it out and then take the pumpkin inside, because you're in breach of some Halloween law. The ghosts and goblins don't like it. Something like that. I don't know.
Well, I read somewhere, I took a liberty of finding out a little bit more about pumpkin lore,
Okay.
and I found out that the pumpkins are there as a bit of a protection against evil spirits.
Well, there you go then. So as long as it burns, the safer you are. Aha.
Ha!
So the plot does thicken, hey?
Yeah, so let's go into the movie itself.
Well,
So-
okay.
What?
Okay. I don't think I've got anything else to say before we go in it. Do you want to give a quick overview what it's about though?
Okay, it's about a bunch of, it's it's a movie with separate stories. I should
It's an
say.
anthology
Yes.
based in a small town or
And
a suburb of a city or something.
Unlike
like
other
that, yeah.
anthologies where each story takes place one at a time, this is all the stories are merged together.
It all happens at the same time on the same night, but they're not actually interacting with each other, but they're happening around each other. The only common theme really is this little guy called Sam who looks like he's about the size of an 8-year-old.
10 or 13 year
No,
old.
he's only a small guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only small. It's maybe say size of a 6-year-old, walking around in a shabby little pair of pajamas and a sack over his head. But
Yeah,
he's not all. He's not all he's made out to be. He's not
Yeah.
really a little kiddie, is he?
I think that the name itself was taken from Sam Hay, I think it was.
I don't know.
I mean,
Samadhi, something like a voodoo.
no, I mean Sam Hay.
Sam Hay.
SAMHIIN.
I don't know.
It's a
You're
special. It's just another word for Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And-
You're up. You're really up to speed, aren't
And
you?
I guess
mate?
our Sam creature is actually the spirit of Halloween.
Well, that could explain a lot then. I missed that in my note gathering.
Yeah, meaning he's there to place judgment on those who don't even obey the
do
rules.
not honour the holiday or the festival or whatever. Yeah, okay, that's cool.
So anyway, this town takes place in a small town in... Where's the small town?
Somewhere.
Okay, somewhere. And they take their Halloween Halloween festives very seriously.
I think it's supposed to be in Ohio.
Ohio, yes.
Are you happy now?
Yes. So they take it very seriously down there, and a couple comes home from the Halloween festivities, and the girlfriend wants to take the decorations down because she thinks they're ghastly.
And you're not going to do it in the morning, yada, yada, yada. You're going to wake up in the morning, go out to the lounge room and play computer games.
Yeah, so the wife is bent on doing this. Or wife or girlfriend, I'm not sure, because it doesn't really say.
Let's just say she's missus. Yeah.
Yes, so anyway, she takes off her costume and, like clockwork, she blows out the jack-o'-lantern.
And then starts taking down all the decorations.
And guess who's there to not place judgment?
Sam is not impressed.
Yeah, Sam kind of scares her and places her on display for all those who could see her.
Yeah, but you don't see it happening.
Yeah, we only see her husband finding her a few minutes later completely on display, her head decapitated and her limbs scattered.
Yeah, they do revisit it towards the end of the movie when all the storylines start to fold in together.
So this story was much later on, like probably after midnight.
Yeah, it was crossing over. Yeah, it jumps around time-wise. But earlier that night and later that night and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it does bounce around, but it works.
Yeah, so then the story moves to the credits, and the credits show it like it was a comic book, like you're looking at Creepshow.
Yeah, very much, very similar. Creepshow's got the comic book bit, same sort of thing. But it's nothing like the Creepshow in its presentation.
Yeah, a lot like John Carpenter's theme. When I look at this, I think according to the director, there was a lot of John Carpenter themes in this movie. Even though he's not on board for this film, but there's a lot of themes.
Hero worship.
No? Yeah, most likely. So anyway, we cut to the festivities. There's a big parade, a bit of it looked like Mardi Gras. Only much more Halloween.
More Halloween, yeah. Less Mardi, more Halloween. Yeah.
Yes, where everyone's dressed up, making out, doing that trick-or-treating thing, and eating candy, whatever.
Yeah.
Or not just eating
candy. And the older
candy.
people getting drunk and stoned all over the place, having a wonderful time, yeah.
Yeah, one of the kids is breaking pumpkins along the way, and he soon comes to the principal's house, and he tries to steal the candy. Then the principal stops him, and he offers him candy and gives him a bit of a quick talk to explaining the rules of Halloween.
And
one of the rules was that he left out was, well, not really. He puts in for good measure while the kid is coughing up chocolate in blood, maybe. That to always check your candy.
Yeah, because the principal was not all he's made out to be. He laced all the candy he was handing out, or to this guy anyway, with cyanide.
Ugh.
Not strong dose, because he ate a few before he started getting sick. So and just enough to.
Yeah, I read somewhere that when they were doing the scene, the stuff that coming out of his mouth, according to the director, he said that this stuff is delicious. Meaning it was,
Well, it could have been chocolate syrup or something or other, or something really nice, but
yeah.
he wouldn't want vomit coming out the kid's mouth. We've made up a bucket of vomit. Can you spit it out for us? No, that wouldn't be very nice at all.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, the kid gets dragged into the backyard after a few mishaps where rap tap tap on the door, or the principal's son is yelling, "Daddy, I just done trick or treating. Can you help me with a pumpkin, please?"
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And Daddy's trying to dispose of
the dead body.
Dead body of one nasty little trick-or-treater guy.
Yeah, of course he then eventually does come to the basement to help his son carve a pumpkin.
And you feel like he's going to kill the boy, don't you? The way he's acting, he's got the knife behind his back.
He's
going to kill his boy. He doesn't.
And he has all these mental issues.
Yeah. Daddy's crazy.
Yes, and
He probably hates kids. What a great man to be a principal of a school.
One thing that about the scene was when he comes into the basement after he disposed of the kid's body in the backyard. We see him going to be about to carve into the dead boy's head.
Yeah.
And didn't
really
he
good.
just Didn't he just decapitated all the remains of the boy down in the grave before?
I don't know. I was trying to not pay attention to that, but I thought there was a continuity problem there. Unless there's two boys in the grave.
Big grave.
No, it was because I just noticed something. Because he saw a hand coming out, looked like he had a clown outfit on or something. So it must have been at least two bodies.
Yes.
He'd been very busy.
Yes.
That would explain. Yeah, he didn't have ordinary clothes
I
on.
think he probably had. This was not a regular day for him, so he just goes out and kills
a couple of kids, as one would. Yeah,
So
this is Halloween.
anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. So let me see. Oh yeah, now I remember. So I'll move on to the next story.
School bus?
Not the school bus. Maybe the girl who's going to lose her virginity one. Okay.
That's not what you think, guys.
So Laurie and her mates are getting costumes at this Halloween.
It's four pretty girls, really nice.
And they're all dressed in very cartoonish cartoon.
I wouldn't say cartoon.
costumes.
You had one look like a bit like
Snow White. One looks like Cinderella, and one of them looked like Little Bo Peep.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
And of course, our lady girl in this one, she's dressed like
a little Red Riding Hood.
And
You get the picture, guys.
yes. Anyway, they have plans to go and get some dates and have a party.
Yeah, and talk about it got to be your first time and then losing it and whatever, and everything indicates she's going to have sex for the first time. No, not on this movie.
No. Yeah. So anyway, the girls get their own separate dates. One of the girls, her sister, gets the cashier who's working at the costume store to come into the festivities.
Yeah, and then
party.
two of the other girls get the TV crew, TV cameraman.
TV crew.
And they get a lift in the van too. Lucky.
Goody. So anyway, they get a lift, and it leaves Laurie to go out and try to find someone.
Find a guy
to come with her to this
She's
party.
such a pretty dainty little thing, so innocent.
Yeah, after a few failed attempts, she then soon spots someone who is out of the ordinary, and it strikes me at once that you think it's a vampire because he starts nibbling on another girl early on.
Yeah.
And
he kills her.
yes, and disposes her body against a number of witnesses.
Well, amongst some other people, revelers who are passed out on the footpath, and everyone thought, she's just drunk or stoned or something or other. Yeah.
Talk about something that you never would suspect for once.
Yes.
Anyway, so he's out on the prowl.
And he's looking for another victim. He sees this pretty girl in the Red Riding Hood outfit.
Yeah, so she soon gets followed by him into the woods, and you think he's got the upper hand, but actually she gets the upper paw in this.
Because we
find out that she's not as she seems, or better yet, her group of friends and her are not what they seem.
They are.
They turn
drum
out
roll. Werewolves. See,
anyway.
The Red Riding Hood, very good. A big bad wolf. She was a big bad wolf.
Yeah, and Sheep's the location or the spot they're meeting up in is called Sheep's what do they call it? Sheep's I don't know, can't remember the name, but it had the word sheep's in that meaning something, and I think that
I don't know.
According to the director, this scene is sort of signifies
Shepherd's Bush or Shepherd's Farm or something.
Something.
Yeah, whatever.
And according to the director, he says that this scene is sort of a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothing. Hint, hint, hint.
Well.
Anyway, while and we just finds out that this unknown vampire turns out to be the principal in disguise wearing fake teeth.
Yeah, because he said he was a little boy, so I've got a date later. And his date was he's going to go out there and kill some people out on the street.
Yeah.
In the guise of a vampire. So no one know who's doing the killing. He's been very busy. Two or three kids before he went out, and one girl we know of, and he's planning to get another one, which didn't work out the way he planned.
Yeah, soon enough he gets soon enough the girls start devouring their dates, including the principal.
And then they start to change into
they start unzipping their fur and ripping it open.
Unzipping their skin and stuff, and you see the fur coming out. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, really cool and grisly. According to I think the director, they got the idea. I think it got the idea from The Howling, thing.
Oh yeah.
Another good horror film I like to mention. So it's really cool. Yes, soon enough, they get devoured. The principal gets devoured, and we're moving on to our next story. Obviously,
roll on to the next story. Now, you gonna do the school bus one now?
Yes, we are. So in this one, a little shy girl. What's her name again?
I can't. Rhonda.
Rhonda and a group of kids are going down with some pumpkins down to a quarry to offer these pumpkins up for respect to the dead kids who died on the bus.
And this pretty little girl dressed as an angel tells a story about how a group of mentally handicapped kids were disposed of by the parents by paying off the bus driver to take the bus up there and drive it into this abandoned quarry which had filled with water. And that way they wouldn't have to worry about the kids anymore who were becoming an embarrassment and an inconvenience. What a great way to get rid of your problems. Just drive them over a cliff in a bus. Yeah,
anyway. I think that there's more to it, like the disturbed kids.
I just said that.
Yeah, I do think that. But I do think that's interesting, that
Put
part.
you on a bus and drive you over a cliff.
Shut up. So anyway, so these kids go down to quarry in one of those small elevator things. So it can only take 3 people at a time.
It's 3 or 4 people, so they're getting there and they're taking the pumpkins down there.
Yeah, and as Rhonda and another kid, they went down last, and they watch as they hear the kids scream and the pumpkins' lights go out. Hint, hint. And
not hint, but they think something's going on.
And of course, Rhonda is a bit more. She's more knowledgeable about Halloween, and she knows about how the pumpkins represent protection from evil.
And she's got her pumpkin with a light on still.
Yeah, so she tells one of the kids to stay by the elevator while she goes and checks it out. And then we see she goes down to the actual bus where the bus was dumped. You see it poking out of the water.
That's interesting, that.
And then these weird things start coming out of the dirt.
Or the water.
Oh, the water, dirt. And then she gets chased down by them, and she gets knocked over, and her glasses fall off.
She wears glasses because doesn't see very well. Yeah.
Yeah, she gets knocked out, and we then realize that these monsters are actually just a bunch of the kids who are just pranking her.
Yeah, we didn't mean it, and then
yes,
she gets back to the elevator.
Yes, and then
by herself.
Yes, and the kids, realizing that the joke is not really funny, they decide to close up shop and head home. And then one of the kids knocks the pumpkin into the water.
But they start hearing.
They start hearing weird voices.
Yeah,
and creepy.
kids' voices and whatever.
Yeah, saying that there's
somebody else here. Ooh.
Yes, and then the real kids.
The real dead kids show up.
Yeah, they start coming out of the water and start making after them, and they try to make the way to the elevator.
Where Rhonda is, and
Rhonda has the door closed, and she's probably doesn't realize that it's another prank, or maybe she does.
I think she knows, and she hits the up button and leaves them down there.
And she still has a lit pumpkin, I think.
Yeah, to protect herself.
Yes. So she heads up, and the kids are left to their horrible fate.
And all you hear is screaming, like they're being attacked by the dead guys.
We are left to suspect that they won't be seen again.
But when Rhonda gets up the top, guess who's waiting for her?
Sam, no less.
Sam, the
and Sam
Halloween guy.
doesn't do anything. He just watches her, and
She's carrying her pumpkin. She's respecting Halloween.
yes, and so she heads off, and he heads off in his own direction.
Yeah, in a lovely little Sammy, cute.
Then we flash back again to the past, or past tense, of the hermit who's living on the streets. Living in the house.
They live in an old derelict house. Yeah.
Yes, and he is mocking Halloween by stealing kids' candy.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Yes, and
Creepy dude too.
yeah, he even has his
Nice
dog.
dog.
He even has his dog dress up and scare some trick or treaters.
Like a hound from hell, little mask on and glowing eyes and stuff to scare the kiddies.
A lot like
very nice.
Yes, so anyway, he's mocking Halloween by stealing kids' candy and just sitting around watching infomercials.
Or whatever.
Anyway, so he then hears noises coming from inside the house and around the house, including from the principal's house where he hears a ruckus.
Yeah, and he thinks something's going on, so he goes out there and he says something. Actually, this shows up in the beginning from the principal's perspective. His neighbour comes to the fence saying, "What's going on over there, yada, yada, yada." Now it's from his side of the fence.
Yeah.
So that's when we talk about the stories aren't together, but they revolve around each other. Yeah.
Yes, meaning that he sort of knows the principal
The
a little,
neighbours.
like slightly. Anyway,
All creepo and all creepo.
yeah. We then see he then hears Sam in the place.
Well,
Somehow
he hears something in the hut.
Yeah,
He doesn't,
and
yeah.
his
His dog goes woof woof.
and the hermit's dog goes up to the to his room, and we hear the poor dog being slowly killed, or we don't know. We don't know if he was killed or just injured. I guess we'll never know, or being eaten. That's a scary thought. So anyway, he goes up to the room, and I was just talking this out with a fellow filmmaker, and he told me about this sort of thing where you walk down a corridor, there's a door, and this is a very important moment where you have to enter this room, but a lot of things distract you along the way, like either a ringing of the phone or a scattering on the corridor, or something creepy that's behind you.
And then you finally get the door and open it and nothing happens.
And then
and all of a sudden you get attacked behind or something.
yeah, and then he sees a pumpkin lighting up, saying "trick or treat," and there's these words: "trick or treat, give us something good to eat."
Yeah, all the words written on the walls of his room.
Yes.
Someone's been there with the old red paint.
Yeah, we have a brief fight with Sam and him, and we do eventually see behind the mask of Sam. We see his face.
It's like a malformed pumpkin.
Yeah, mutated pumpkin.
What is that? Malformed, mutated.
Yes. Well, anyway, different
Or a horrible kid. No,
yes, you realise he's not just your average kid. So anyway, he tries to fight him off. There were a few attempts they tried to beat him.
Yeah.
And eventually, Sam, all he wants is candy.
Yeah, it's trick or treat, you see. So, and accidentally, this Cree guy, the bus driver, has a bar of candy falling in his lap, and Sam takes it. He's been offering candy by the guy, so he takes the candy and walks off and leaves him alone.
Yeah, and
That's nice.
later that night, I don't know how he got bandaged up.
He bandaged himself up.
Yes. Anyway, he's seen presenting candy,
To the
kiddies.
Yeah, he's changed.
Yes,
They're just like Scrooge out of A Christmas Carol,
Yeah, except in this case, Sam is only one evil spirit out of.
And he's not, and he's Halloween present.
Although I have a theory, Mike, that I was just saying. I was thinking just earlier that if there were a Halloween, ghost, Christmas, past, present, the future, I would often think the Michael Myers represents the ghost of Halloween past, and Sam, Christmas, a Halloween present, and the future we haven't seen just yet.
A question mark. The Riddler. No, we go.
A big question mark, but other than that, I often think the Halloween ghost of the future is anything that we create.
Yeah, man-made ghosts and goblins and ghoulies. Oh, yeah?
Quite right.
Yeah.
So anyway, as I was saying, so we watch we watched our the couple we mentioned walking along to their house and talking about how they want to get the display down. And we also see the werewolf girls coming back from their
You're
party.
driving past in a car, yeah.
And we see Rhonda, who's with a wagon with her pumpkin,
Going home? Or whatever.
Yeah. And we see the principal's kid handing out non-toxic chocolate, I hope.
Well, we'd like to think so, to the other kiddies.
And
So it all comes together in the same little neighbourhood.
yes, so it's all in the same area. And then
Cleverly done.
Yes, and then as Creed closes the door, he hears a rat tapping, and he opens the door and he sees the dead students
He drowned in the bus.
and one of them wearing a Dracula outfit says "trick or treat" in a menacing voice.
And they all come in there and they jump on him and rip him apart.
Then the scene looks like a comic book. You hear it in a flash, really flat, 30-second feeling.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And
And
he gets chewed up and broken up in little pieces
Yes.
and stuff. And what a good ending.
Yes, he's been
Yes.
chewed up and eaten up and spat out. Ugh. Well, I'm glad we did.
Don't spat him out. They've been very hungry after, 30 years, you know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of it, and it was pretty an awesome take on the Halloween story. When you think about it, and just so you guys know, this all deals with the Halloween rules. Like rule number 1, always wear a costume. Rule number 2, always hand out candy.
Yeah, and don't steal candy.
Yes, and make sure you check your candy when you eat it.
Exactly, make sure it hasn't been dabbled with.
And the next rule is do not blow out a jack-o'-lantern after midnight. I mean,
Well, no, before midnight.
midnight.
Yeah, and that sort of stuff. And don't take your decorations down till next morning and yada, yada, yada. All these good groovy things which make Halloween the fun festival it is, albeit all the dead bodies in this movie.
Yeah, quite right.
In the Halloween series, movies,
True.
franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was an awesome movie, and I do admire it. Another thing about it I've noticed was, did you know that they had dwarfs and play some of the kids in
On the bus?
trick or treat roles?
In the bus?
No, during the late night scenes because.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're
'cause-
running around in the streets. Yeah, oh,
'cause
fair enough. Yeah.
Mostly this takes place during really late hours, and
Yeah.
kids no doubt will
So you got
really
doors
respond
to. Well, that's a good idea.
to late hours when you think about it. I mean, I did a film project last year, and we had to film way into the till 6 o'clock in the morning.
We had an all-nighter.
Yeah, so we had to film all the scenes at night time.
Yeah, a lot of it, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was
So yeah, we worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. And our poor DOP, he had his bum hanging out at the end of it, wasn't it?
I was exhausted too.
Oh yeah, but poor Hayden, he was working really hard at it. Yeah.
Yes. So they kind of used
Anyway.
dwarfs because no doubt kids would not respond to staying up this late.
I want a nap. Okay.
Except maybe for some of the scenes where we get to hear a bit of
Oh,
dialogue.
some of the early stuff, there's some kids at the front door that took the masks off. There's about 3 or 4 kids, but probably the rest of them running around the streets were dwarves and, short people and whatever, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, another thing, Anna's character,
Which was that one?
that was the girl who's a werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
Her character's name, Laurie, came from the name after Laurie Strode from
Strode.
from the 1978 Halloween film.
movie. Played by... Well, come
Jamie
on.
Lee Curtis.
Exactly. Actually, in one of those movies, I think her mother was in one of those movies as well. What's my
That would have been
Ruby
Janet Leigh.
Yeah, down Lee, yeah, a couple of, number 3 or 4 or something or other, yeah. Interesting. Mum got a role. Ah, isn't that lovely? All
Yeah,
of the family.
they even used some of the. I think there was a snippet of Alfred Hitchcock's theme music in that scene. No, not
No,
quite.
no,
Just
okay.
something soft and easy.
Oh, okay.
Listening to symbolize her mother's, her role in Psycho, and
Lovely.
being the slasher and being the sort of a scream queen of the
60s?
60s or 50s.
60s, I think 60s, right?
Yeah, 60s.
Alfred Hitchcock, I think, made Psycho in 62. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that one.
Anyway, another thing about, as I said before, this has a lot of John Carpenter and Stephen King elements, references. Like in this one, for instance, like in the flashback sequence to the school bus massacre, and there was a sort of a car that looked a lot like the car from Christine can be seen. A nod to John Carpenter and Stephen King.
Funny that, hey?
Yes.
Bit of product placement and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but then again, it's Halloween. You're bound to see the stuff.
Hey, talk about putting things in the background and stuff. You remember when we saw the first Indiana Jones movie? Rose Lost Ark. They had that scene at the beginning of the movie, and there's a car that car came up with a short round. It had the number plate of THX something rather,
I think we mentioned
which was
this.
the name of the movie that George Lucas had done a couple of years earlier. And that sort of little things like, and it was the Obi-Wan Cafe.
We already heard that one.
And no, I just mentioned it so that people haven't heard the other thing yet. But little things like that happen quite a lot in movies, and yet if you're not paying attention, you miss all these subtleties. Yeah.
Also, in the scene where Laurie and her friends, the werewolves, girls, I should say, while they were revealing their werewolf skin, the background music played was "Sweet Dreams" by Marilyn Manson, which is also played in a scene and in the end credits in The House on Haunted Hill. That was made in 1999.
Very good pickup on that one. Yes, it was.
It's a good.
And I do like the original version of the song, but Marilyn Manson does make it sound really evil. It's really good.
Anyway, at the campfire scene right before the girls turn into a hot dog guy in a costume can be seen
like a real wiener.
impaled. No, this isn't shush you.
Sorry.
This can be impaled that the kids coach who was seen at a previous Halloween party is now a victim, meaning he may have gone to his friends, the party, and may have went off to a separate party in the woods. Or maybe it's the party that there was the same one over there. Like maybe the host was also a werewolf that we don't know.
Well, you never know. No, interesting that. Aren't you clever?
I'm just guessing. I mean, if you were drunk or high and
Let's go to a party in the woods. Okay,
and,
fine.
and you drag them off to another place, then that person gets devoured.
Ooh, yummy.
And you never see them again.
Yum, yum, yum.
I gotta admit, though, it is an interesting take, and I do like the fact how interesting, cool this movie was.
Actually, it was well done. It was different, and that's what makes a good movie a good movie. It's not the same stuff churned out all the time. And this one was one of those movies where someone's put a lot of thought into. Let's make a new story idea. Let's make a new concept. Let's make it, and it came out good. It was reminiscent of Creepshow, and it wasn't. It was similar styling, but wasn't, because Creepshow's all independent stories. This is all joining stories. It's just little things that it's had its own life. It had its own what would you call it?
Own life.
It was own personality. It was a good standalone, non-copy. No, let's do a remake of something. It was something fresh.
And this is the only one I've seen where that did only one or two people who worked on the story together. Unlike other anthology movies, it's usually required say sometimes they would often have several
Well, you-
writers working on it.
Yeah, you might have 4 stories, so you got at least 4 writers.
Or
Yeah,
several directors
and
working on each
and
individual story.
And each director does a separate storyline, and they bung them all together. But this here has just been done as one standalone movie of all the interweaving stories, which is great. So yeah, good writing.
Agreed.
And good directorship. But,
They were going to think about making a sequel, but it's been postponed because the producers have been asking for other film projects to be done.
yeah, well, that's the whole point. Sometimes you can, or when you can't, maybe you want to, but
And you think
you're
that
doing other things.
You think
and,
that
yeah.
Trick or Treat was given so much interesting stuff. You think they would at least.
But having said that, I
Yes.
don't think it actually made it to the theatres. It went to the film festivals and stuff. So it wasn't a big commercial thing, but it became a cult movie.
Yeah, it did.
Very much. And actually, it was well received from the critics. A lot of critics said it was quite good.
Agreed.
I think Rotten Tomatoes, the media critic or whatever, they all listen said, hey, favourable stuff. But what? And they got awards. Yeah, wow. It's a good movie. It could have done the round of the film.
It could have been great.
The cinemas. But
Yeah, it
didn't-
would have made for an
yeah.
interesting Halloween movie to release on Halloween.
yeah, it would have been great.
They do with the Saw movies.
I
you
like
know,
Saw
where
movies.
they kept on releasing those during the Halloween season.
That guy Tobin Bell, is it? Oh, he's great. He just some of the way he talks, you get that sinister.
Yeah, go rough, sinister.
He talks softly and gently like that. Yeah, but he's really sinister. Yeah, I love it. But anyway, it's not about him.
I gotta admit though, I almost wish I could contact him, but I don't think I can. I don't think he does cameo videos.
He may not. Sarah's been talking to a lot of people, or communicating with them through cameo videos, and the people who have responded to her have been very positive about Sarah's career and an upcoming movie idea, which I'm not going to talk about at the moment.
No.
But they've been giving her advice, and they've been very nice people. So all those who have been talking to Sarah, thank you for your kindness.
Yeah, thanks guys. I really appreciate it.
Exactly. I hope this movie you're planning on doing a very, very early stage at the moment, hope it comes off as good as we think it's going to come off.
I'll be sure to mention you guys in the credits.
Oh yeah, all the guys who gave her good advice. Have a whole list of all the guys. Just get the phone book out. No, he's talking to so many people at the moment. It's great.
I do think it's great to talk to so many people who have a good knowledge of this stuff.
Yeah, people who are in the business who have actually done sinister roles and stuff as well, and directors and people. Yeah, people have been in the movies industry for years doing it, which is great.
Been there and done it and stuff like that.
Yeah, directors, actors, special effects, makeup, prosthetics. Yeah, people who know it from different aspects. And they've got their own different ideas and inputs into how to structure it. But there's a common theme running through it, which is good. So we're going to try take these notes and comments and good ideas, and Sarah's going to try and make a good product. Watch this space.
Yes. So anyway, do you want to? Do you have anything to add to this film?
I'm having a think. I've got notes here. We go online before we do this. We get all the notes, make it easy to jog our memories. I did mention the fact that it didn't hit the theatres. It went through film festivals and film events. It is on home media, I believe. You can pick it up there as a DVD or possibly a download equivalent thereof.
I do hope they put it on Netflix or some
those
one of the
things.
distributing channels.
Oh, well, there you go then. So some platform you should be able to get it on.
Well, I just said I hope they do.
No,
I
I think it should be. That's what I'm just saying. I think because I know it did go for DVD, so it should be on the other as well. It was good enough, yeah. Critical reception, I said, went pretty good, so I won't go on that too much. I want to have a quick look here about the accessibility of it. Hang on, give me a moment here. Just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. DVD, it went to Blu-ray. It's back in there about a few years back. Collector's edition. Look, yeah, it's probably still available on DVD and Blu-ray, or the equivalent thereof, downloadable through Amazon and whatever. Download a digital copy. So yeah, look around for it. It's a very interesting movie, a great concept. I can't say anything more to it. It's a good watch. I think it rates. If you're going into rating now, I'm going to give it. I don't often do this. I do it. I think I did one just recently. I'll give it a 10 because it's so different and it's being well done. What do you think?
I'm gonna give it 9.5 out of 10 because I do question that scene where the principal gets a decapitated head in his basement, and while he buried the rest of the remains outside.
Like I said, I think if you have a look at that, if we had a relook at it, the one he's burying, which is wiggling around, has a costume on. I think he's killed more than one kid that night.
I can read it.
Maybe, but we'll have a look at that. But a bit of a grey area. So, but anyway, irrespective, it's a good watch. I recommend it. Sarah recommends it. Anything else you want to say, my darling?
No, not really. I mean, I do wish you guys check it out. Maybe this Halloween or after Halloween, and well, give me your valuable input on it.
Yeah. What else? Well, that's it.
That's about it, guys. I've
got no more words.
Yeah, so this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael Stephenson.
Saying we'll see you guys around, and hopefully you guys have a good Halloween.
Yeah, I don't know what day is going to hit you, whether it's just before Halloween or just after. It's going to be right near Halloween. So don't take any chockies or any lollies which aren't wrapped, okay?
Yes, and guys, remember to wear a costume.
Yes, and don't blow your candles out, okay?
No jack-o'-lantern
candles inside your jack-o'-lantern. Don't blow them out.
Or if it's a battery operated, wait until the battery wears out.
Yeah, well, that could take days. Anyway.
Anyway, so thanks for listening. So
thanks,
see you guys around.
Yes, bye.
Bye.